Hey, what's going on? What's going on? It's the Green Okie. Come back at you again with another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over what is school life like in Japan. So like I said, I spent about 3 years in Japan teaching English, so I have a pretty good sense of what goes on as far as like the junior high and 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 the elementary school system. So essentially, um, it's 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 very it's kind of very rat racious, like a rat race. Um, Basically, everybody's kind of like they're you start seeing the students and the children fitting into Japanese culture more and more. And when you're in elementary school, everybody's real innocent. Everybody's, they into like the Pokemon and stuff like that, and Jibanyan, and all those things. And when you go to the middle school, it's kind of more or less, but now it's starting to get really serious because they have to pass that test to get into high school. So if it was one thing that I really remember when I was there, it was whenever I went to the elementary school, and the students the students had like this swimming lesson. And you know here in the States, I don't think I've never gone to a school that had a swimming pool. So whenever I saw it, this was like my first time. And essentially it was like they were competing to join the Olympics. That's how serious it was. I mean, it was like everybody was in like this strict order, and they had to hurry up and swim in their line, and then get out, and then line up again and repeat. It wasn't like, oh, it's this free time and you get to swim at your leisure, because that's kind of what I was expecting. I was like, okay, can you, because when they asked me to come out there, they was like, yeah, can you come out there and kind of watch over the kids and, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, cool, cool. But when I got out there, it wasn't anything like that. It was like, this was some serious swimming. They were like kicking their feet hard, and they were like pedaling hard. They were like stroking hard and all this stuff. And I was like, this is the most serious swim swim activity I've ever seen in my life, and from children, and it was really, really shocking to see how serious the children were. And they were nothing but like in the third or fourth grade, and I was like, man, these students are serious. And that was one of the main things that shocked me. I think the other thing that shocked me was they had this little orchestra in school, right? Okay, so essentially, like, the students who play like in band and stuff like that, and this is in a middle school. So the students essentially, they they all kind of gathered together, and then essentially they parents came up to the school, and they put on this awesome performance. And I was like, man, this sounds better than some high schoolers in America. I was like, everybody is like really coordinated. Everybody is like on point. And this was the kicker. Okay, when the parents were sitting there and they were watching, but it was like the parents were dissatisfied. So when I was looking at them, they didn't look happy that their children were playing so well. it was like it wasn't good enough. Yeah. And when you hear it, it was like these students ain't nothing but like in a sixth grade, you know? And they are playing wonderfully like they are in high school. And then when I looked at the parents, they were just like, it was like they was like nervous or had even higher expectations, you know? But I was very happy for them, you know? But it was like even more pressure on them, you know? So that was like one of the other things that kind of shocked me about Japan was there's a real rat race that you may not realize as a foreigner there, but it's a real race. It's real, and it's subtle, and it's, can I say, nice too. I guess one more thing that shocked me about the school life in Japan was that, like, I would go to these different kindergartners classes and first graders, and whenever I would go there, this was like the saddest thing I had ever experienced. It was like the kindergartners and the first graders, it was like they were starved for attention. Okay, now just listen to kind of hear me out on this. They were literally starved for attention. Sometimes I would have lessons like when your birthday is, and sometimes sometimes it'll be the student's birthday. Whenever I would give them attention, it was like their whole life changed. I mean, like, it was like it was changed. It was like nobody has ever given me this much attention in my life, and you know, things like that. And basically, it was like some students have never been picked up before, you know. So it was even some fourth graders, and it was like a fourth grader, and he was like half as big as me, and I was picking him up, and he was happy that I was picking him up, you know. And it was like he had never been picked up before, you know. So it was like, what shocked me the most was that it was kindergartners, and they were like fist fighting for my attention. So if I would pay more attention to this kindergartner over here, the other kindergartner would get really jealous, you know. And it was essentially like when they would hear me walking down the hallway coming to their classroom, the whole classroom would just light up. It was like I was a superstar in the class, because it was like I would say each and every student's name individually, and it was just like their own parents wasn't giving them enough attention, you know. It was a trip, you know. And it was like some students, some students cried whenever I left. That's how attention starved some of the students were, you know. And that really scared me, because it was like, wow, it was like, what's really going on, you know? Like, what's really going on at home? What's kind of, how does the society really function here, you know? And it kind of made me think about, like, if I had children, would my children be the same way? I mean, would I have to fit into this mold of like the Japanese salaryman, and would I have to maybe not give my attention so freely? And that made me be very appreciative of the attention that I was receiving back home in America and stuff. But yeah, those are just some of the things that kind of shocked me about school life in Japan.